Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. Well, this is gonna count for Wednesday, all right? So Wednesday's gonna be too busy. We're doing a thing anyway tomorrow night. Strong Beer Wednesday, any beer 5.5 and above. Here I have McCormick Scotch. Imported, obviously, blended Scotch whiskey, aged 3 years, bottled in Missouri by McCormick Distillery. It's got a look like a yellow picnic tablecloth label with some olive green, gold, and red and white. Olive green, gold, red, and white. Nice looking label, nothing fancy, kind of basic. I like basic things. All right. No longer listed on the website. I get the impression that it's been discontinued, and they had it on an incredible price of $4.99 a liter at a store in Jefferson Parish. So I don't think they're going to sell it at that price if it's not being phased out. They probably got the most super discount on it, and they passed it on to the consumer. Well, our friend David gave me the bottle. Thank you, David. Incredible, really. All right, so don't expect to find a deal like that again, because I doubt I will. But anyway, it's a pretty good product, actually. It's not anything amazing, but for the price, it's usually about $18. I looked on some liquor stores still carrying it, and they're running about $18 for a liter. It's still cheap, but $4.99 is a bit crazy. Aged 3 years. Here is White Horse, a product of Scotland, established 1742. Well, that's the White Horse Cellar. That's a bar in Scotland that was established in 1742. But this was named after that. White Horse Distillers, well, really Diageo, originally supplied to passengers on the London coach from Edinburgh, White Horse Inn. So there was a restaurant, what we call today a motel or a hotel. I guess no motels back then. They didn't have like parking lots where you could park your car. But there was a rail line, a stagecoach line, sorry, now a railroad line and highways. But and this was named after it. In 1890, it was introduced. Aged for a minimum of 3 years by Diageo. It says it right here, imported by Diageo. All right, so this big jug bottle glass, clear glass, but anyway, was like $34.99, I think, or $36.99 at Star. So that's a fair price for this well-known product. I had heard about it. I had never purchased it. I would have bought a smaller bottle, but this is the only size they had. So, and I've only seen it at that store. I've never seen a White Horse anywhere else, to my recollection. Never seen it in my town, that's for sure. So I bought this in Kenner, Louisiana. And they use Lagavulin single malt as their single malt, or at least that and maybe some others. How do I know they use Lagavulin? Because it says it on the website. All right. Now, whose single malts are used in McCormick? We will never know. They don't give you those details. All they tell you is that it's imported from Scotland, it's bottled in Missouri, and it had been aged 3 years. That's all we know. And it's 40% alcohol. Okay. 40% here, aged 3 years, produced by Diageo. And we know it uses Lagavulin because that's what the website says. All right, so as you can see, the White Horse is much darker. So they're probably adding caramel color to give it a little color. This one's very pale straw, so I don't think they're adding any color in. Here's the website for White Horse. There is no website listing anymore for McCormick. Like I said, I believe it's been discontinued. Our brands, White Horse. It should take 4 minutes to read this, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can go back and check the website later. James Logan Mackey, whiskey merchant, 1890. Peter Mackey introduced White Horse, and they changed the name of the company to Mackey and Company. It's owned by Diageo today. Now, when did they buy them? I don't know. There's a regular looking bottle. I'd like to find the regular bottle in that nice cardboard carton, but like I said, I'm not seeing it. There's a video you can about making a White Horse highball, and there's profile. Full body peaty flavor and aftertaste. This whiskey leaves hints of oak, smoke, and toffee on the nose, and has a finish that is slightly complex with notes of oak, spices, and creamy vanilla. I don't know about all that. Then they give you some cocktail ideas, and then there's a quiz you can take from Diageo's Bar Academy. It's actually an online school. Bartending school. You can actually pay. What I mean is you could pay for it, and you could go through the process and go to their seminars. Most of it online, but I think some of it you got to go. And then you can get a certificate. But I'm not interested in that. I just use the website to track down the brands and get some useful information on them, which I just did. Now, people had asked me about this Scotch for years. What do you think about it? Do you think you'll ever review it? And so forth. And I just kept telling them, I've never seen it. But that was one of the most common ones people would ask me about, White Horse. They would constantly ask me about it. I just said, I don't know where to find it. And then I stumbled across it one day about 20 miles from here, maybe 18 miles. Okay. I was glad to find it. And I didn't think 30, I'm saying $34.99, but it might have been $36.99. But I don't think that was an unfair price for this huge, amount. I did get 375 milliliters of it to my friend David. He enjoyed it. All right. I have to close my eyes because if I glance down and see the lighter color, the straw, I'm going to know it's the McCormick. This is pungent bread. Hard to say at this moment. Whoops. Lighter in the nose, much lighter. So that tells me, I'm not sure, actually. Not sure. Taste. Bread, a lot of honey. No peat, no smoke. Yeah, that's the main components, bread and honey. You say, you mean honey top white bread? Yeah. Or honey top wheat bread, something like that. White bread is made from wheat also, but the whole wheat bread. But yeah, honey top. Strange, isn't it? No honey in there. Smoke. Not a lot of it, but it's there. Peaty smoke and very light bread. It's still probably 80% grain whiskey, which is usually not going to have much flavor. That's used as the base. They want the flavor to come from the single malts that they're adding. In this case, they're showcasing Lagavulin. That's an Isle of Scotch, isn't it? Okay, White Horse. I knew that. Okay, knew that. Clem and Son says, I've liked White Horse on the rocks or with a little ginger ale. White Horse is a good song by Chris Stapleton, too. Laughing out loud. Okay, I don't know his songs, but all right. Lagavulin. Iowa. Yeah, knew that. But that smokiness, oh yeah, baby. Who owns Lagavulin? Ah, Diageo. No shock there. Naturally, they're going to make it in-house. Why would they pay somebody else for Scotch when they own a bunch of distilleries? It'd be kind of stupid, huh? But I know sometimes these Scotch whiskey companies and Canadian and American and Irish, they'll trade with each other. Like what I mean is they're looking for a certain flavor profile and they don't have it. So they'll be like, hey, you got that blah, blah, blah whiskey. Remember that? Like, oh, yeah, we have it. Well, y'all need anything? And then they'll work a deal. I don't think they do it too much. So is the White Horse better? I think it's better. But I mean, I don't think they're using any Isla Scotch in this one. I think they might be using Highland and Isla. I mean Highland and Highland and Speyside. What am I saying? Highland and Speyside. To give it some oomph and flavor. I don't know where that honey flavor would come from. Where that would come from Speyside whiskey or something. But it is good for a cheapo Scotch. They got some really questionable ones like the Winn-Dixie brand that I bought and the Legacy. Those things are like whoa wee. Um, they kind of scary. But this one, you see it right, and you think, oh, that's going to be horrible. And when I saw it for $4.99, I thought that twice as strong. This is going to be horrible. This is going to really be horrible. And my friend David was like, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. He'd tell me on the phone. I said, I don't want any, but because I have so much Scotch now. But he surprised me and brought it over. He said, I bought some for you. And I really do appreciate it. But so I can't go by the price of $4.99 a liter. I mean, I got to go by the regular price when it, I think, used to exist. Like I said, I think it's discontinued. But so $18 for a liter, $34.99 for a handle of this, and it is a true handle because look, it has a handle. I'm holding it in my hand by the handle. That's where the nickname comes from these big jug bottles. But let's see here. 18 divided by 1,000 times 1750. Yeah, you see 31.50, 34.99, 36.99. So they're not really that different on price. One is obviously more reputable. White Horse is well known around the world. It's got a following. Some people, that's all they drink. That's the only thing they'll drink. They're White Horse. I drink my White Horse. That wouldn't be feasible in Louisiana because we can't hardly find it. And you say, well, I live in Brooklyn, New York. It's everywhere. Okay, well, I'm not there. And on the other hand, McCormick wouldn't be feasible for me because we don't get it really. So, I stumbled across it. That was a rarity for Louisiana. So, but it does shine above your other, if you want to call it cheap swill Scotch. It does. It does. Is it better than Highland Mist from Barton Brands ownership Sazerac Company, which I think is even cheaper, but not by much, but a little bit. Highland Mist, which is common, not where I live. Where I live is not big. It's not really 28,000 people is not big. So we don't get, we get like a few cheap brands. Sir Malcolm, I think we used to get that. I don't think we get that anymore. But like Clan McGregor, 100 Pipers would be like our cheap brands. And that's it. You get 100 Pipers, or you could buy Clan McGregor. Now, if you want to step up, then you can step up. You can get Famous Grouse, Dewar's, Johnny Walker Red, Chivas Regal, stuff like that. And I mean, everybody's gonna sell that. Walmart's got it. It's just common, you know. But comparing it to Clan McGregor and 100 Pipers, I think it's a little bit better than those. I really think McCormick is a little bit better. But if you look at their American blended whiskey, which is so common here, that's probably a little bit worse than your average American blended whiskeys. You know what I mean? Like it's a little worse than Kentucky Dale. You know, maybe a little bit worse than T.W. Samuels. Maybe a little bit worse than Beam's 8-Star or something like that. You know, or I'm trying to think of another one we get. We don't really get that many. Those aren't really that popular, but they have some. Yeah. Early times, that's a little higher level. That's not really your cut rate American blended whiskey. That's more like a more acceptable in the world. If you show up with early times, people may not tell you to leave the party. If you show up with T.W. Samuels or McCormick, they'll probably point at your car and say, "Get in the car and get out." Now, if you show up with Seagram's 7 Crown, they might say, "Give me 5, bro." You know, 'cause I always see Seagram's 7 Crown around here. It's so popular. I saw somebody stocking it today. Never slows down. The sales are always like steady. But we're talking about blended Scotch right now, not blended American, but you get the point. Oh yeah, that's smoke. That makes it. It puts it in the level, at that level, that mid-range level, you know. Well, it's already there. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's already at that level. So is it a good product to buy? Yep. Does the 3-year minimum age hurt it? No, because you're not paying for extra age anyway. And it's not a plastic bottle. Like some of these are plastic bottles. They get really offensive. I saw some Johnny Walker Red. This is a true story. In a big handle plastic bottle. And there was something on the bottle like, "We're doing this to help the environment." I said, "Are you crazy?" I wanted to immediately call the company and say, "Are you crazy? You ain't putting it in no plastic bottle to help the environment." I don't know what game you're playing, and I don't know who in the world would fall for that. I don't know, some about glass is more hurtful to the environment than plastic. Polyethylene, whatever, tetrahyd, PET, whatever that stands. I'm like, yeah, I bet. Yeah, glass, you know, sand that's melted. Sure, Diageo, that's true. Okay, anyway, getting off the political thing, but I mean, it's a joke, you know, when people do that. I can't stand when companies cheapen a product and they'll claim it's for the environment. We're doing our part to help the planet. It's like, no, you're doing your part to save money for yourself. And you just framing it because some gullible people will fall for that, you know. I love this ice cream because they're giving their money to good causes, they claim. Yeah, but their good causes might be like the Golden Dawn terrorist organization in Peru. Yeah, in their minds, it's a good cause because they are helping to bring on the revolution. Or they might be giving money to, you know, the Socialist Workers Party to, you know, So you can't just, everybody's going to say they give money to a good cause, but why don't you investigate the causes? All right. Could I request more mystery beer challenges with Dave? Those are entertaining, says Clem and Son. You can request that. The problem is I'm running out of beers to taste challenge. I mean, we've done so many. He can kind of guess by just process of elimination. He'll just think, wait, what has he not brought yet? Oh, okay. So we'll see. I'll bring some, I'll try, but it's questionable if I can find something. I have to really find something I think is going to challenge him, that he's not going to figure out. Because if you use the process of elimination, you can sort of guess, But we'll see. All right. I mean, I would do it all the time, but all right. Yeah. Whiskey, there's no real reason to do that. Or rum or something. But I mean, I guess it could be done. All right. So the winner is White Horse, but I would not say it wins by leaps and bounds, like a steeplechase, Get it, White Horse, haha. Bad joke. All right. Does win, but it's not as big a gap as I had expected. There's a gap. And I thought it was gonna be like this wide, but it's only like half that much. So 6 inches better. So yeah, but you say, well, the whole point is moot because you just said that McCormick is probably discontinued. I'm saying that, yeah, it's probably discontinued. Can't back that up. Don't know. Not going to take time to call the company and ask them. But well, I guess I could do that. But anyway, yeah. So if it's discontinued, it's even less of a reason for these videos, But I'm still going to go through the series because it gives people a chance to look at some of the blended scotches that I have, and then they could say, it's like, oh yeah, I had, Dewar's 12-year age. That stuff's awesome. Well, they actually changed Dewar's 12-year age just as a warning to you. It was a shock to me. The Ancestor is definitely the Ancestor now because it has been buried. There's a new one, a new 12-year age. I read articles about that. I don't know why they changed it. What was the reasoning? Because Ancestor was popular and I liked it. Maybe that's why they had such a low price on it. They knew what was coming. And when I tell you what I paid for that, you ain't gonna believe it. It's gonna sound like a total lie, But it is the truth, and I have a witness because he bought a bottle too. But yeah, so like when I say I paid $4.99, well, actually it was a gift. But when I say my friend David paid $4.99 for this liter bottle glass, you say, why you got to come on the internet and lie, But it's the truth. All right. Anyway, y'all take care and have a nice, wonderful Tuesday for the rest of your day. The winner, White Horse. Cheers to White Horse. I got a lot left. Not as much as I wish I had. I wish I had half that bottle left. But I don't. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.